1, 2, 3, come on!
Hi, hello, my name is Giovanni Sconde and I am your teacher in math today. Today, I will teach you on how to divide fractions and whole numbers. But make sure you already done watching my previous video on how to multiply fractions and whole numbers. Because the steps that I have discussed in my previous video on how to multiply fractions and whole numbers are the same in division of fractions and whole numbers that I am going to discuss today. But if you are done watching that video, then that's good, because you are ready to take and to watch this video and to learn something and to learn the step-by-step process or procedures on how to divide fractions and whole numbers. I know that you're so excited to learn today, so keep watching and let's start our lesson. Before we will proceed, there is certain thing in division of fractions that is very important for you to know and understand, and that is reciprocal. What is reciprocal? Reciprocal is a multiplicative inverse, or simply one of the pair of the numbers that, when multiplied together, that is equal to 1. And to find the reciprocal is simply a matter of transposing the numerator and the denominators. Example, 1/2. How to get the reciprocal of 1/2? You will just simply interchange the numerator and the denominator. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2 over 1, or 2. Because when you multiply the two fractions, the answer is 1. Another example, 5/8. The reciprocal of 5/8 is 8 over 5. You just simply interchange the numerator and the denominator. And that is what we call reciprocal. So please take note of this, and I hope that you understand about reciprocal before proceeding to division of fractions. So let's go. Let's start dividing. In this lesson, you will learn how to divide fraction and whole numbers. This will help you understand how to divide fractions and help you apply what you learn about number sense. In this lesson, you will be able to identify the different steps on how to divide fractions and whole numbers. You will be able to divide fractions and whole numbers. And lastly, you'll be able to show patience in performing the series of activities. Are you ready to begin? Let's have problem number 1. The priest reads 2/3 part of a Bible in 6 hours. How much time does the priest need to read the whole Bible? In order to know the number of hours that the priest need in order to read the whole Bible, we have to divide the two given numbers. Here are the steps in dividing fractions and whole numbers. 1. Get the reciprocal of your divisor. Number 2. Multiply the numerators. Number 3. Multiply the denominators. And finally, simplify the answer. So let's go back to the problem. We have to divide 6 and 2/3 in order to know the number of hours that the priest need in order to read the whole Bible. So let's have 6 divided by 2/3 equals n. Before we will divide the two numbers, let's identify first the different parts of division. The first number, or the number to be divided, is what we call the dividend. The second one, the number that divides, is what we call the divisor. And the answer in division is what we call the quotient. Or let's follow the steps in dividing the numbers. The first one is to get the reciprocal of your divisor. What is our divisor here? Our divisor is 2/3. So how will you get the reciprocal of a number or a fraction? You will just simply interchange the numerator and the denominators. So the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. And proceed to multiplication. So 6 divided by 2/3 will become 6 times 3/2. Next step is to multiply the numerators. But before that, we make sure that our whole number will become a fraction. How will you change whole number into a fraction? You will just simply put it 1 below. So that is 6/1 times 3/2. Then, step number 2, multiply the numerators. So let's go back to the steps in multiplying fractions and whole numbers. Multiply the numerators. 6 times 3 is 18. The third one is multiply the denominators. So 1 times 2 equals 2. So the answer is 18/2. And the final step is simplify the answer. How will you simplify the answer? You will divide the numerator by the denominator. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. So the final answer is, the priest reads 9 hours to finish reading the whole Bible. Next example. Joel baked 10 loaves of bread. He shared 2/5 of the bread to his friends. How many friends can have the bread? In order to know the number of friends that can have the bread, we need to divide the 10 loaves of bread that Joel baked by the part he shared to his friends. So, 10 divided by 2/5. What are the steps in dividing fractions and whole numbers? The first step is to get the reciprocal of your divisor and proceed to multiplication. So in this case, our divisor here is 2/5. How do you get the reciprocal of 2/5? We need to get the multiplicative inverse of 2/5. So what is the multiplicative inverse of 2/5? We have 5/2. And take note that you are going to proceed to multiplication. So instead of dividing, we have to change it to multiplication after getting the reciprocal of your divisor. So that is 10 times 5/2. And that is our new equation. Take note that 10 here is a whole number. So what will you do? You have to change it into a fraction. How will you change a whole number into a fraction? You just simply put 1 below 10. So that is 10/1 times 5/2. And then follow the steps in multiplying fractions. What are the steps in multiplying fractions? We have multiply the numerators. The second one is multiply the denominators. So let's have 10 times 5, which are the numerators, so equals 50. 1 times 2, which are denominators, equals 2. So our answer here is 50/2. Is it our final answer? The answer is no. We still need to simplify the answer because the numerator is bigger than denominator. So we can simplify it by dividing the numerator by the denominator. So 50 divided by 2 is 25. So 25 here is our product. So our final answer is there are 25 friends can have the bread. Okay, so we are now done with our lesson on dividing fractions and whole numbers. So before we will end this video, let's have a short review on the different steps in dividing fractions and whole numbers. The first one is to get the reciprocal of your divisor and proceed to multiplication. Step number 2, multiply the numerators. Step number 3, multiply the denominators. And lastly, simplify your answer. So those are the steps in dividing fractions and whole numbers. I hope that you will never forget what you have learned, because I'm sure that this topic is very useful in your next lesson in mathematics. So thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye!